Welcome to Go Permissionless. I'm Simon Elias, and we're on a mission creating world-class crypto-native information for entrepreneurs, traditional finance, and property investors alike. But on today's show, we have some great news, including the top 10 ways you could lose all your money in crypto. Alongside this, we have some hot crypto news of the week, including why Pompliano believes corporations want a lot more Bitcoin on their balance sheet. But in order to bring further great content to you, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us obviously try and beat the algorithm, but at the same time, gets great content to you guys. Right, let's go. Hi guys, welcome back to the show. Much appreciated. It's the 29th of May, 2024. Some great news and content to be had today. So again, please like and share the video along the way. Again, it helps us provide good content for you guys. But without further ado, let's have a look at what's going on in the news today. I'll just share my screen. We've got some interesting stuff happening. So let's look at Bitcoin today. 67,500. We've had a bit of a choppy ride going on for the last day. As you can see, we've kind of dropped down, but maintaining the 67,000 US dollar mark. But if you look over the last month period, it's looking like there's definitely going to be a breakout happening soon. So for all of you that aren't entering the Bitcoin market or purchasing yet or doing a trade yet, now is probably a good time to be looking at. But on top of that, I keep hearing as well and looking at other YouTubers out there. There's a lot happening with Bitcoin. There could be a huge drop before. So a buy-in period could happen again very, very soon. So that's a bit of Bitcoin news. We won't be talking about other coins at the moment, but I like to focus primarily on Bitcoin just to kind of see how the market's going for everybody. Interesting news, as I mentioned on the intro there, we're looking at playing a video for you guys for, well, it's a video by Pompliano, which basically looked at essentially why corporations want to buy a lot more Bitcoin. So I'm just going to play this video, but it'd be great if you guys could follow the Pomp letter as well. He's a fantastic guy, really good feedback on the crypto economy. And if you haven't got this letter already, it's on Substack, but I'll put the link into the video. Fantastic update from corporations wanting a lot more Bitcoin.
Bang, bang. Another public company announced this morning that they are adopting Bitcoin as their treasury reserve asset. Here is the opening of their press release. Quote, Semler Scientific Incorporated, a pioneer in developing and marketing technology products and services to healthcare providers to combat chronic diseases, announced today that its board of directors has adopted Bitcoin as its primary treasury reserve asset. In addition, Semler Scientific announced that it has purchased 581 Bitcoins for an aggregate amount of $40 million, inclusive of fees and expenses, end quote. Now, why would they do this? According to the chairman of the company, he said, quote, our Bitcoin treasury strategy and purchase of Bitcoin underscore our belief that Bitcoin is a reliable store of value and a compelling investment. Bitcoin is now a major asset class with more than $1 trillion of market value. We believe it has unique characteristics as a scarce and finite asset that can serve as a reasonable inflation hedge and safe haven amid global instability. We also believe its digital architectural resilience makes it preferable to gold, which has a market value of approximately 10 times that of Bitcoin. Given the gap in value between gold and Bitcoin, we believe that Bitcoin has the potential to generate outsized returns as it gains increasing acceptance as digital gold. Furthermore, we are energized by the growing global acceptance and institutionalization of Bitcoin, reflected most recently by the Securities and Exchange Commission's January 2024 approval of 11 Bitcoin exchange-traded funds. These funds have reported more than $13 billion of net inflows, with investments from nearly 1,000 institutions, including global banks, pensions, endowments, and registered investment advisors. It is estimated that more than 10% of all Bitcoins are now held by institutions, end quote. The Semler Scientific announcement comes on the same day that MetaPlanet, a Japan-based company pursuing the MicroStrategy Bitcoin playbook, announced that they received board approval to purchase more Bitcoin for their balance sheet. They said that they'd like to announce that at today's board meeting, we have passed a resolution to purchase an additional 250 million yen worth of Bitcoin. Please note that these Bitcoins held for long-term purposes, we will record them at cost, while for those held for short-term purposes, we will revalue their worth quarterly at market value, and any unrealized gains or losses will be recorded in the non-operating income section of the income statement. So when one company does something, it's a dot. When two do something, it's a line. When 3 companies do something, it is a trend. There are at least 5 publicly traded non-crypto companies that I know of that are using Bitcoin as a treasury asset. This is on top of the many crypto-related companies that are also holding Bitcoin on their balance sheet. I don't anticipate that every company is going to put Bitcoin on their balance sheet, but I do think we will see many more companies pursue the strategy in the coming months. Bitcoin has shown itself to be a superior asset to store value long-term. The institutional adoption, coupled with the recent regulatory approval, is only going to greenlight even more executives to consider this option. Bitcoin is the only asset in the world where retail investors were able to front-run the institutions and corporations. But the corporations are not going to watch this pass them by. Capitalism is an incredible system of incentives, so we know the outcome of actions by simply looking at the incentives that Bitcoin provides. Protect your hard-earned economic value over the long run, regardless of what the fiat currency debasement rate is. There may be no greater pitch to corporate America. While everyone thought that Bitcoin was going to be a high-risk asset, it turned out to be the risk mitigation tool for the suits. What a beautiful thing to see. Hope you all have a great start to your week, and I'll talk to everyone tomorrow.
Yeah, that's really interesting. As I said, if you're not subscribed to the Pomp letter, get involved. It's fantastic. Obviously, at the same time, subscribe to us. Really interesting. What my takeaway is on that, as you could probably hear as well, it's more and more institutions are getting involved. You can see JP Morgan getting involved now as well. You know, this is unheard of. You know, it's all about companies coming to the party now, whereas before it was all about retail. We're now moving more into institutional investment, which is fantastic. So I think it's, you know, it's early days. And I think at the same time, it looks like more institutions are certainly piling in, which is obviously beneficial to all of us in the Bitcoin community. So I think, you know, it's fantastic. Let's not put it aside. So yeah, great news there. Again, try and subscribe to the Pomp letter if you can. In other news this week, which is really, really interesting, we have, for those who are not in the US, if you don't know who Janet Yellen is, a bit of a post here, basically. She is obviously put a sort of post out there about Janet Yellen issues serious 34 trillion warning as Bitcoin predicted to surge to 1 million price, which is great. But for those who don't know who she is, I've just done a bit of an overview here. So yeah, she's an American economist. This is mainly for the sort of European and the rest of the world outside of the US. American economist serving as the 78th United States Secretary of Treasury since 2021, basically. But she heads the chair as well in the Fed. So for those who didn't know who she is, that's the kind of update about her and who she is. But again, you know, she's predicting, you know, this is really, really big news, basically. And her prediction is, you know, putting this to Bitcoin price as 1 million price tag. So I've highlighted here as well. Now, after one legendary trader predicted the Federal Reserve will restart its money printing later this year, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has issued a serious warning over the spiraling $34 trillion debt. It's unbelievable. I can't. Taking me a second to read that a sec. US debt pile that something could catapult the Bitcoin price to 1 million over the next 18 months. I think that's a little bit over pumped, to be honest, and I'm probably sure you agree. But do let me know what your thoughts are. I did a podcast recently, which I'll hook back with Leon Wankum and Stefan Livera, and we talked about price tags there. So, you know, it'd be really good for you to go back and have a look at that video and get your feedback. But again, leave your comments below and let us know what your price tag is going to be for the next 18 months, but also for the next few months heading into December 2024. There's a complete mixed array of people out there going from 1 million, 1.5 million, or 150,000, but it's completely mixed at the moment. Who knows what's going to happen? In other news, MetaPlanet Inc., listed on the Tokyo Stock Exchange, has adopted Bitcoin as its treasury reserve to counter Japan's economic challenges and protect investors. I think, again, massive shift in what's going on out there. Again, I go back to what I mentioned earlier on. You've got retail investors. Obviously, we all piled in initially as private investors, and then we're moving now into institutional investment. And looking at a company that's listed on the Tokyo Stock Exchange, MetaPlanet, they're huge. You know, for them to start looking at putting treasury reserve asset as Bitcoin is massive. And they're saying to counter Japan's economic challenges and protect investors, which is really, really interesting. So, yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts on that. what's your views? Are people from a company or businesses, are they investing into Bitcoin on the balance sheet as opposed to investing into gold, silver, any sort of precious metals or real estate? Let us know your thoughts. It'd be really good to get what people's views are out there, to be honest. I thought this was really cool, actually. The amount of Bitcoin each government has now. This was taken from a guy called Mark on, excuse me, got an itchy eye, from Mark on LinkedIn. Basically, you're looking at India, 0 holdings. I don't know how true this is, but I've seen this floating around quite a lot, and I wanted to get it post. El Salvador, just over 5,500. Ukraine, just over 46,000. Go Ukraine, that's fantastic. Germany, 50,000. UK, where I'm from, 61,000. China, this was really surprising, 194,000 Bitcoin. And United States, 207,000. Now, it should be noted that these Bitcoin holdings aren't necessarily, purely owned by the government. And what I mean by that is these might be cryptos or crypto coins that have been taken, from illegal activity and just held by the government. Whether or not they'll dispose of them, sell them, or get rid of them, I don't know. I couldn't answer that question, but it's just a really cool image, I thought, to see how governments are potentially adopting Bitcoin, on their treasury. And we look at El Salvador, and that's really interesting what these guys are doing. They're doing crypto mining. They're using all sorts of different sort of crypto mining technologies to kind of run the network. And I really think El Salvador, it's early stages, but it's good. I think they're going to be going places very, very soon. And I think they're going to be a place where people will want to be living, which is just crazy when you think about, the country. It wasn't probably top of anyone's sort of priority to live, but I would imagine now, things are changing rapidly over there. And I think we as a country, especially UK or USA, should really take a leaf out of what El Salvador are doing. Now, I know it's a slow progress to get to that point, but nonetheless, really, really interesting. So guys, do me a favor. Again, like and share the video, but please leave your comments below. Let us know your thoughts. Is your government where you're from, are they invested into Bitcoin? Do you know? Is one of your countries in that list there? But yeah, let's get some comments going. Give us some update on that. Right, without further ado, I wanted to give you the top 10 ways how you could potentially lose your crypto. Now, I understand this is not for every single crypto investor. This is probably more for newbies. And I would imagine a lot of people on my channel that are starting to join the channel because we're still relatively new. And they probably know all these kind of points already. So if you are a newbie, great, this is probably for you. But if you're somebody who's kind of looking at, an old school investor and you've been investing into Bitcoin for a while, then yeah, you probably know all of these informations anyway. So without further ado, what are the top 10 ways you could potentially lose your money in crypto? Number 1, using sketchy exchanges. So we all know, Binance, Coinbase allegedly are the best sort of exchanges to kind of buy crypto on, but be very careful of sketchy exchanges. There are many out there. It might be a case of, you open up a VPN and you have to connect to a third-party exchange that you haven't really heard of, or one of your friends has given you that information. Be very careful. Number 2, not using offline 2-factor authentication. So you've probably learned your lesson. You're sticking to Coinbase as your platform, but you didn't enable 2-step app authenticator. Your only authentication methods are your email and your phone number. So you've got to be really careful about this. Make sure you're using the right authentication application. I personally use Google Authenticator app and it works extremely well for me, but there are other ones out there. So again, give us your feedback on these as we go through this. If you've got any comments or concerns or any sort of issues that you've had in the market with using 2-factor authentication app, let us know. Number 3, losing your private keys. No more exchanges. We always talk about not your keys, not your coins. But it's so true. And I couldn't talk about this more and more to people, whether it be friends, family, business associates. Get your crypto into a cold wallet. So really important. A lot of people will write down their 24 or 12 word seed word, and they don't store it safely. I think the future is going to be multi-sig storage or multi-sig storage. But actually, we're still at the early stages of all of this. So, look after your keys, make sure you have a really good strategy in place to protect your keys. Maybe it's a safe, maybe you have the coin, the word, it's a metal wallet that you put your words, your key phrase onto, and then you store that away, which is then fireproof as well. So it's really, really important. Number 4, let's have a look. It's sending money to the wrong address. Now, in my early days of working with crypto, I kind of did that to a degree. I say kind of. I punched in the address, I verified it, and then for some odd reason, my hand hit the backspace and it deleted the last character. So you've got to be really, really careful. Always check your address that you're sending the crypto to, basically. Right. Number 5, FOMOing into meme coins. It's really, really easy to follow what one of your friends has been doing, or you've been watching a particular influencer and they've been talking about the next meme coin that's taken off. And don't get me wrong, meme coins can make you a lot of money, but you've got to understand what are you FOMOing into these meme coins for? Is it because someone sent you a WhatsApp message? So be really careful. Do your research, study YouTube, look at other people that have made investments into those particular coins. And like anything, just do your due diligence on that particular coin. Number 6, trading. So you've learned your lesson hard. No more FOMOing. Instead of hoping for a lucky 100x, you have a new strategy. Excuse me. So make sure you open up a Coinbase account, for example. You watch a few YouTube videos about charting and trading patterns, but you're not understanding that it's essentially astrology for men, like that. You start trading low volume pairs, but you don't understand this in a player versus player game where you're absolutely outmatched. So you really got to understand. I'm not a particular trader myself, but I understand the charts, the schemes, and what's happening within the market, especially Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana, my top 3 cryptos. But you've got to be careful, and you've got to understand the game. You've got to understand your charts and basically learn the story of what the coins are doing, basically. So just understand the markets. I think this is really important. This is number 7. Okay, so no more trading, but you're out of the woodwork. You're not out of the woodwork yet. And at the end of the year, your accountant tells you a pleasant surprise. You have taxes to pay on every single trade you did. I learned this the hard way. In the UK, every January, we have to do a tax return. There's software that now does this for you. And what it does is it connects to all your wallets. So you might have multiple wallets across multiple exchanges or cold wallets. What the tax software will allow you to do is basically connect to those, look at all the trades that have actually happened within the year, and then you can export that report. Because I don't know if you know this, I learned this the hard way, but if you convert a coin, let's say for example, you convert, I don't know, a piece of Bitcoin, 0.01 of Bitcoin to Ethereum, there's a liability on that. Okay, there's a tax liability that will sit within that trade. So it's really important to make sure, one, you've got a good tax software that will connect to your wallets and your exchanges, and that you basically give that information to your accountant before your year end. And you can really analyze it. The software now is fantastic out there. It will basically tell you how much is due, what trades have happened, and yeah, pretty much everything about your trades, essentially from day one to your tax year. Something that's really popped up, I've seen this quite a lot actually, is MetaMask spoofing. I, for one, don't use MetaMask. I used to, but I don't use it anymore. I use Ledger, and I use various other cold storages like Trezor, and I'm now looking into multi-sig storage as well. So MetaMask spoofing, really important. You heard of a decentralized platform where you can stake your coins to make some unbelievable 50% return and buy PNGs of monkeys, for example, for what is essentially a down payment on your dream house. So you've got to be really careful on these, basically. Look at protecting your PC, your Mac, making sure everything is protected. You've got your antivirus up to date. You're using a VPN. I use NordVPN every day. So whenever I'm logging into any of my crypto accounts, I'm always in a VPN just to make sure I'm protected. So always do that. Take that extra protection, okay? Number 9, quite a common and obvious one. It's too good to be true. So no more decentralized staking. Instead, you find out about this new private platform that you can do staking for you. And there's hundreds out there, believe me. I've studied them and there's so many. It's unbelievable. There used to be a bunch of them. For example, you've probably heard of Celsius. And sadly, I got affected by Celsius in the bankruptcy. BlockFi, FTX. And what happened to them? All went bankrupt. Or maybe your cousin, for example, Greg or Paul, you heard about it on Instagram about a new investment opportunity that he got or they got. And from this, they're now a millionaire at 20. So don't believe this hype. You know, you've got to be careful on who you buy into and make sure you study. Again, it's all about due diligence. Make sure you read about the coins that you're invested in. For me personally, I like meme coins, but I'm very, very careful in what I invested into the meme coins. But I have my stable coins, which I class as my blue chip crypto. So again, they're Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum, and that's it for me. But also, I think one thing to say is it's a patience game. I see so many people out there, YouTube, on the internet, you know, in groups that I'm sort of a part of, and people are sort of saying, what's the next one to buy? You know, shall I buy this coin? You know, and it's really, you know, social media has a lot to answer for. It can be good, but when it comes to sort of investing, you've really got to take your own due diligence and be careful, you know, look into what is working. Look at the graphs, look at chart graphs, look at what's, you know, what coins are doing really well and why. Study that. Why are they doing well? There's a reason for it, you know. And number 10, dying. I bet you didn't think I was going to say that. So, all right, you know, you've been 10 years into crypto and you somehow managed to avoid every single exit scam, rug pulls, bankruptcies. You know, I just said that about Celsius with me. Lost wallets, stolen keys, SIM swaps, hacks, bad trades and market crashes. You've made millions of dollars in crypto and kept everything secure. Nobody can find the keys to your crypto wallets except you. Then you get hit by a bus or a car, something wipes you out. And as you lay dying on the street, it dawns on you, nobody can find your private key wallet. So not even your parents, not your wife, not your siblings, not your kids. So all of those are risks, all of that stress, all of those efforts are gone with you, you know, so you leave nothing behind. So I think it's really good to start thinking about a strategy, you know, look at a strategy, how you can protect your keys. I won't go into details now on that, but I'll do another podcast about that in the future. So yeah, just some really, really, really interesting information about how we can help you, you know, within the channel, about building our community at Go Permissionless, of us getting people together, discussing, you know, the pros and cons of certain coins, but also looking at how we can help potential investors that are business related investors, people that own a business that want them to look at getting Bitcoin or Ethereum onto their balance sheet rather than gold or silver or real estate, for example. And that's what I'm trying to do here, is build a community of property investors, entrepreneurs. So again, if you like the content, it'd be really, really good if you could like, share, but also subscribe to the channel. Right, guys, thanks so much for joining me. That's me for today, 29th of May, 2024. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been a real pleasure.